Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much. My name is Paulette Jones, Public Information Officer for Department of Public Works and Transportation for Prince George's County. Thank you for joining us today and helping us to share information about the SafeTrack plan and mitigation efforts in Prince George's County. As many of you know, on June the 18th, the first surge will take place in Prince George's County. And our county executive wanted to share information with you today for our commuters, for our citizens, and for all that will be impacted with the surge in Prince George's County. So please join me in welcoming the county executive for Prince George's County, Rashern L. Baker III.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for being out here this morning. In a minute, we're going to have Daryl Mobley and Jack go through some of the items we'll be dealing with in Prince George's County in this issue. One of the things I want to say in the very beginning, I'm very glad to see that we have Delegate Tony Knotts here with us, representing the state and the county. We have our Deputy CAO for Public Safety and Mark McGall here. Glad to have him. And we also have Barry Stanton, who has public infrastructure, which WMATA comes under. You know, before I turn it over to Daryl and to go through the steps, the reason we wanted to have this press conference, this is a very critical issue for all of us in the Washington region, especially in Prince George's County. As you know, we have some of the highest numbers of federal employees in our county. And those federal employees and those employees who work in the district take Metro. So it's very important for us during these times when they're doing SafeTrack that we figure out ways to be able for them to be able to get back and forth from their jobs in the region, not just in the District of Columbia, but also in throughout Prince George's County, Northern Virginia, and Montgomery County. So this is a critical issue for us. This is going to be a trying time for everybody. But the main thing we want to focus and assure the residents of the county is we're going to do everything we can to make sure their commute is as safe and as easy as possible. But it is going to be trying. So the council, I talked to Chairman Davis this morning. He is going to be having hearings and talking to WMATA. We're going to do everything we can on this end. Daryl Mobley is going to talk about some of the efforts we're going to make at the county. But the main concern that we have in this county is to make sure our residents are safe. That is the main thing. We want to have their commute back and forth on the metro system safe. We also want to make sure that we don't have to go through this over and over again. For too long, we've had to deal with issues dealing with the metro system. It is high time that we fixed it. That is what's going to happen. But in order for that to happen safely and for folks to get back, it means we're going to have a temporary sacrifice. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure, as I said, that that the commute is safe as possible and that the interruption and disruption is as little as possible. With that, I'll turn it over to Daryl Mobley.
Thank you very much, County Executive Baker. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for the opportunity this morning to brief the residents and the commuters here in Prince George's County on the actions that are going to take place. But I also want to take a moment just to acknowledge the individuals that you see behind us with the yellow shirts on. Those are the Department of Public Works and Transportation's SafeTrack team. It's an outreach team that we're going to deploy starting today through next week to make sure that we are engaging person to person in order to share information. So I just wanted to make sure that we at least acknowledge the individuals that you see standing around us today.
Thank you.
As County Executive Baker has mentioned, the second surge, Surge 2, is going to be a complete shutdown starting June 18th through July 3rd. What does that mean for the residents of Prince George's County is that commute will be different from what we're experiencing now with phase one, the first surge that's occurring now, which is a single tracking effort. What we have now coming up on June 18th with Surge 2 is a complete closure between Benning Road, Minnesota Avenue, and Eastern Market. So we need to make sure that we're communicating and getting information out. There will be a second surge occurring in November 12th through December 20th. That will be a single tracking effort, and that will also impact residents of Prince George's County, which will occur in the fall. And we wanted to make sure that we acknowledge both of those that are going to directly impact the residents here in Prince George's County. Now, we're approaching this from 3 steps. We have a 3-step approach in how we're addressing this. First and foremost, we want to strongly encourage individuals who have the ability to telework, to work a flex schedule, an alternative work schedule, if you have the ability to do so. We want to do everything that we can to have individuals avoid the system if they can during that time period, utilizing other means of transportation, with teleworking and flex time and alternative work schedule being the best option. The second option that we have is what we call an alternative commuting mode of carpooling, van pooling, ride sharing, and also biking. We have also reached out to our friends with the Washington Area Bicycle Association to make sure that we're looking at our maps to find ways that individuals that have the ability to cycle into work can do that safely as well. For those residents who have no choice but to commute by train, by bus, we have tried to mitigate to the best of our ability to implement several options that they can utilize. Those being primarily the street teams that I've recently mentioned that we've had deployed. We have looked at the bus routes throughout the system for each of the stations to provide alternative transportation means by bus. And if you'll look to my right, we've laid those out, which will also be on the website, and those are the alternative transportation methods that individuals will be able to utilize. So for example, if you're at the New Carrollton station and you need to catch a bus to get out of the orange line, we can transfer you over to the green line by the 15X. We have engaged MTA to add additional capacity on the MARC train lines. We have received verbal commitment that they are willing to increase capacity along the Camden line and the Penn line to aid in additional capacity. So if you cannot get to the orange line through your normal commute, we encourage you to try and use the MARC train service or the bus route option. We've also asked the state to secure additional enforcement of HOV restrictions to make sure that individuals that are riding in HOV lanes are at least in the high occupancy vehicles and they're used for the purpose in which they're intended for. The county will also be adjusting and monitoring our traffic signals that lead into the District of Columbia. We will be monitoring those real time and making adjustments to allow a longer green time on the main line as you travel into the district. We are also increasing capacity on the 15X, which is the county's bus system. We will provide shuttle service from New Carrollton, from this station over to Greenbelt, to help to get passengers off of this line and over to the Camden line and the Green line. That service will be free of charge to residents here in Prince George's County and commuters during that time period. We will also increase that service by adding additional buses in that system. There will be a shuttle service for the stations that are closed, which WMATA is providing. That service will be provided by WMATA, and they will have 40 to 50 buses to shuttle individuals who must use the system around the closed stations at that point. The county will have buses on standby if we need to add additional support to WMATA for that effort. With regards to the Green Line and the single tracking that will occur in the fall, Prince George's County Department of Public Works and Transportation will be adding buses to create a shuttle along that section of track that will be single tracked from the Greenbelt Station to College Park. We will add 10 buses at that point to create a shuttle service for the residents to get them around that area where it's single tracking. Again, that will not occur until November 12th through December 20th, but we wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of our plans for that now. In addition to the items that we've just discussed, we will have all of our information on the website so that commuters can readily access that information. If you go to princegeorgescountymaryland.gov, information will be available. It will also link to WMATA's site. It will also link to rideshare and commuter connections. All of the tools that are necessary to navigate commuters through this difficult time. In closing, again, I want to reiterate, in closing, if you're able to telework or to work an alternative work schedule, we strongly encourage it during the second surge that we're going to encounter. If you do not have the ability to do that, we have mitigated or have placed mitigation methods in place to aid those individuals who must use the subway system or the bus. And the important thing for us is to make sure that they clearly understand what those commuting options are as identified on our charts to the right. And those options will also be on our website again. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Jack Requa, Chief Operating Officer for WMATA.
Thank you, County Executive, for holding this opportunity to share the word on SafeTrack, and Daryl for all of the efforts that the county is taking to make travel less difficult, but maybe not easy, through SafeTrack. First of all, what is SafeTrack? When our general manager came to Metro and asked how long is it going to take to make the repairs that are necessary, he was told 3 years. He said that's unacceptable. We need to make the system safer. We need to make the system more reliable. We have about 135 hours of service during a week of 168 hours, which isn't sufficient. We need more time. We need more effort to make the repairs that we have. So in addition to the impacts of SafeTrack, which will impact the peak hour services, which is the big change to the way Metro has done maintenance in the past, we are also reducing service on the weekends by closing the rail service at midnight on Friday and Saturday night. I would say that it went very smoothly last weekend. We are pleased with the response that we're getting, but we need to do things differently to get this work done. In regards to many of the comments that were made, we are going to provide shuttle services between Eastern Market and Benning Road and Minnesota Avenue. We think there will be sufficient buses if we can keep the number of people coming through the Orange and through the Silver Line down to a minimum. We are going to run additional buses on the Metro routes 97 and the T18. Service will be doubled during the peak hours to allow more bus usage during the peak hours during the week. Also during the week, the X9, which is a Metro Extra service that runs in the peak hour, will run all day long to try to help with alternatives. Last week we started on the other end of the Orange Line, and I would have to say that the word has gotten out. Metro has only lost about 1 or 2% ridership system-wide, but 25% of the ridership west of Ballston that are impacted by the single tracking have found other alternatives. So we're very pleased that people not only have heard about SafeTrack, have heard about the alternatives, but are taking the alternatives through either starting earlier in the morning, maybe delaying their trip a little bit later in the morning to get into town, more teleworking, more carpooling, and we appreciate that effort. And we're very pleased to be here today to again continue talking about SafeTrack, talking about the alternatives. We know that people are hearing about them. We really want people to take advantage of those alternatives to make their travel a little bit easier and allow Metro to provide, and the county, to provide as much service as possible to get us through these 16 days. So I'll be pleased to answer any questions with you, and thank you again. Thank you again for having this event. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, there you have it. If there are any questions, we can answer them now.
Mr. Mulvey, who will be
Daryl?
the additional shuttle service that you were referring to from here to the Green Line?
Yes.
And then again in November. Is that Metro or is that Prince George's providing that? Where are those buses coming?
That is Prince George's County providing that service, and that will be the 15X. It is an existing line that we have in place. We're adding capacity to it, and it's an express service that will get you over to the Greenbelt line.
That's the bus?
Yes, the bus. Thank you.
Can you expound a little bit more on what the workers, you said they'll be out the streets?
Absolutely.
What are they gonna do?
Absolutely. Our street teams are going to be handing out these cards, which is what you see on the display boards to my left and my right. These cards have transit alternatives for Surge 2, June 18th through July 3rd. And these cards list what your bus options will be, whether you need to transfer from here over to the Green Line, what bus will take you there. If you need to take a bus from Cheverly into downtown, we have that bus line identified for you and where it will drop you off at that departing location.
The bus service, that's the one from 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I'm sorry?
The bus.
Bus service.
Yes.
Now, has there been any thought about maybe extending those hours because of what's going on?
Our service will start at 6 a.m. For that morning service. Yes, and our evening service goes to 7 p.m., but we also are looking at possibly extending that a little later. If we see that the commute patterns have adjusted, we will adjust accordingly.
Right.
Initially, on the calls with Metro, Prince George's County was saying that it didn't have the resources to provide alternative transportation. What's changed between then and now?
Well, with regards to
I think, let me just answer that, Daryl.
okay.
I mean, I don't think there's been a change. What we've always said is that we're going to look at how the situation is unfolding, and we're going to make the best decision for the residents of Prince George's County to get back and forth. We know this is going to be challenging. We know it's fluid. As Daryl said, you know, we're providing the bus service, but we're going to look at how the traffic pattern is evolving. And I think, you know, for all of us, both the council and myself and the state, we take this very seriously. We know this is a disruption. We know this is not going to be easy, and we know it's going to be timely. I mean, it's going to be a length of time they're going to be dealing with this. So we're going to make the best decision within our confine. Everything is within a budget, but we're going to make the adjustments we need to make make people's commutes as easy as possible. Daryl.
Walk through where they come to get on the 15X, how long it would take to get to Greenbelt.
Great. The 15X stop is right here. So you would come right here, board the 15X, and it'll take you over to the Greenbelt station, and that'll put you on the Green Line.
And about how long would it take to get over?
It would take about 20 minutes. We have 20-minute headways on that.
You know, that's a good question. One of the things that we want to do in this press conference, one of the main things is getting information out to the residents, what the alternatives are and what we're doing in the county. That's the main thing, because what's going to cause confusion if people don't know that they can come here and catch the bus to the Green Line or where to go get information. So the biggest help you can help us do for Prince George's County is to get the word out. We're doing everything that we can. There are some alternatives, and we just want to make sure you have that information, which is why we have these great people in these nice, bright shirts that are going to make sure we hand out that information. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, why did you decide to double down the HOV restrictions instead of lifting them?
Absolutely. And we want to encourage carpooling. We want to encourage higher occupancy vehicles. So we don't want to take away and have single cars in the HOV lane, which would create more congestion and further delays. So we want to do everything that we can to make sure that we have a greater number of riders in that vehicle along the HOV lane. And also, just to go back a little bit to the 15X again, that service will be provided free of charge, and it is on those boards as well, labeled as free.
How many people will be on each SafeTrack team at the rental stations here in town?
At each station, we will have approximately 4 or 5 people at each station handing out information. If we find that it's not as many people at a particular station, then we may scale down those resources and redeploy them to another station where we find a higher volume of passengers.
Can I add to that?
Anything else?
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
If I can, from a Metro standpoint, at each of the stations that are impacted, we will also have employees there to guide people from buses to rail and answer any questions that they have. We'll also have police officers there in the event that the crowds get too great. So obviously safety comes first. We can monitor the number of people that are headed toward the platform, and we'll do everything we can to keep everything as safe as possible and keep the people as informed as possible and working with the county in their efforts. So thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Rizzo, one question. It seems like for the last several weeks we've been dealing with almost every day some sort of a little fire or small thing that's caused problems in service. We haven't heard anything like that during this week. Have there been any of those little problems that we just haven't heard about, or are things running actually as smoothly as
It's been a relatively smooth week. We've had some offloads due to door problems or some other issues. We've had nothing major this week, and we look forward to not having any. But again, all of these efforts are an attempt to minimize that. The work is continuing not only with SafeTrack, but throughout the system on other hours. And the whole purpose of this is to get as much reliability back into the system as soon as possible.
Can you explain how the shuttles are going to work again for the Eastern Market?
Buses are going to run every 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes from here during the peak hours, and a little bit longer during the midday. They'll stop at each of the rail stations. They will not stop at other bus stops along the way, and they will run from here to. They will run from Minnesota Avenue and Benning Road to Eastern Market and return, free, and they're free. We're doubling the service on the T18 during the peak hours and the 97. And we're running the X9 all day long.
Okay, thank you so much. We actually have a couple of press packets available for you, so you can see me afterwards. And again, thank you so much for helping us to get the message out for our commuters and our residents of Prince George's County.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good job.